Welcome back, everybody. Another edition of Live from Redhook here at the Function House. I'm Mike Gentile, along here with Anthony Vitale. And tonight we'd like to welcome to the show Chili Davis and Sean Cormack. What's up, man?
How's it going, man? Thanks for having us.
Two guys from Forward Disco here tonight. You guys ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, something like that.
So let's talk about how you guys met. How did you guys meet?
Went back, what was it, 2011?
I think it might be 2010, 2011.
2010, 2011. We got thrown on the bill for same party for a buddy of ours, AB Logic. We were like this huge, huge in length. It was a long party all day at this place, Porch.
Okay.
It was this cool like spot on the Lower East Side.
Okay.
We were just thrown. It was like a party from like noon till 4 a.m. And we all played like an hour set. There were hundreds of DJs on it. He played a great set. Introduced myself and just started bullshitting. And then it was like, well, we got 16 hours of drinking ahead of us. So, we were just hanging out. It turns out one of our other partners in Forward Disco, this guy Alan Morehouse, who was DJing with me at the time, they lived close to each other. So it just kind of made sense to start doing parties together.
So talk about, but not to cut you off, talk about where you guys are from. So you're from Brooklyn.
I'm from Brooklyn, yeah.
And
I'm from Westchester.
okay. So Westchester guys. So do you know like A-Love and Idol?
Yep.
Those guys, yeah. We came up with those guys in the early days of clubbing.
Metropolis.
Metropolis, yeah.
I haven't heard Metropolis in a long time.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
All right, so Westchester, Brooklyn, you guys got together at this place. When did it really get serious for you guys, like as far as DJing as a team and bringing together Forward Disco?
Did our first party, in like 2012-ish? First we started, might as well just tell the truth, right?
Right.
Where it really started.
Started at the back of in a hair salon that closed at night. When it closed at night, it turned into a lounge and everything like that. It was a lot of fun. It's kind of no rules environment. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of manual labor, bringing stuff and everything like that.
Wait. So the party was in a barber shop?
Hair salon.
Hair salon.
Not a barber
Yeah,
shop.
it was like 2 levels and
Was it
everything
like a
that.
dope hair salon?
It was. Yeah, I don't know if I'd get my hair cut there.
He might get it.
So wait, so like after hours, like the place would just turn from a salon to
They would move the chairs and everything like that. It was a cool spot. It was 2 levels. They would move all the chairs and everything, and we'd lug in all the equipment. And they were really cool about having a genuine party there. You could play whatever you wanted. It was fun. It was a lot.
So you guys had a liquor license.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you had all that stuff, right?
Thank you.
That's weird.
As far as I know.
That's kind of cool because there's a place, the Blind Barber, which is a barber shop, and then you walk through the back door of a barber shop, and it's a nightclub, and there's a liquor license and a bar and all that. So that's pretty cool.
That
So
was
what year was this that was going on?
around 2011.
yeah.
I had done a party for like 4 or 5 years. It was another collaboration called Stimulus Response. Had finished doing that. Wasn't really sure if I was into doing another like collaboration party. It's a lot of work, like you guys know.
Yeah.
It's not just hey, we want to play here and you show up. There's all the stuff that goes on in between. And started working with these guys, and we had a good time, had a good turnout, and said, all right, let's figure something out. Let's make this something, and kind of went from there.
So the name Forward Disco.
We played with a million names, and I'm a big fan of doing something that's original. So researched and saw it wasn't out there, and at the time we were playing disco, same as now, disco, classic house, funk, bunch of different stuff, and I just kind of went from there.
It's a
No one
great
had the
name.
name. That was the important
It's a
thing
great
to me.
name.
Yeah, it was unique.
And the artwork is really cool too. You handle all the artwork for the.
Yep. It's funny. I was doing, when we first started out, I was doing really elaborate collages that would take like 6 or 8 hours to make. And that was great because our flyers were very original. Then the party started happening more frequently, so I had to adopt a different style. And that's how I ended up where we're at now, using, kind of classic paintings. Some of them have symbolism that are tied into the party behind them. But it's really just kind of a nod to, past masters, which is a lot of our guests that we have and everything like that.
Nice.
And they don't look like anybody else's flyers.
Yeah, no,
right
that's
now.
what I seen when I was looking at the artwork. It's really cool.
So we hear how you two guys came together. But talk to us about, like, obviously you've watched the show, and what we like to do is we like to find out, like, how you got the DJ bug, how it started for you guys, individually. What was the inspiration? Maybe did you see a DJ? Did you guys grow up on certain DJs? certain genre of music? Like, how did it start for you guys individually?
For me, it was just I was a huge music collector for a long time. I know it's cliche to be like I got my dad's record collection, but I got my dad's record collection. And
Because he has better taste than you.
Does have better taste in music than me. So we just like got involved in all that. I just got involved in like listening to music constantly. And honestly, the bug hit me probably '02. It was my first time I went to Ibiza, and just hearing all the DJs play and like the different styles. And I mean, don't get me wrong, you're in New York, you're hearing Tenaglia, you're hearing back then Murillo, Sanchez, and all these guys, and it's like, but something when I hit that island, it was different. And then I came home, I had this full collection of music. My partner, the guy Alan Morehouse, who I started with, was just like, why don't you just try to like make some mixes, just mess around at home, figure some stuff out. So he hooked me up with like a little bit of gear at home, and the bug just hit real fast. Picked it up relatively quick, and just went from there.
Wow.
Probably like 2003, 2004.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember, like, at the time, who was DJing out in Ibiza when you were out there? Who were, like, the main acts?
It's so funny, man, because I talk about how like, you went out there, but I went out there and I listened to all the New York guys.
Yeah.
Like Tenaglia was like, killed it out there. Murillo was totally different. Sanchez, back down at Chus and Ceballos were huge. Sander Kleinenberg, guys like that. So, yeah, this is going back now. Like,
You had a lot of Paul Van Dyke posters on your wall.
Yeah, a lot of Paul
didn't
Van
you?
Dyke,
You
a lot
did,
of
right?
trance, a lot of trance.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not even gonna lie. Early on, I was into some trance, man, and then
In 02, I think everybody was.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
And
everybody.
Van Dyke was like, I mean, he's still huge, but he was
Yeah.
huge back then.
yeah.
You know, I think I seen him in Cancun around the same time, maybe like a few years later. But like everybody was just going crazy for this guy.
Yeah, the guy who probably like blew my mind for the first time, and I was like, holy shit, what is this? Was Steve Lawler. Like, just the drums back then. He was playing a sound that like nobody else was doing yet, and I was like, what the hell is this? And then I just started researching it, and I was like, went from there.
Yeah. So how about you, Sean?
For me, it's probably several years before that. Just
Several?
yeah, decades, whatever you want to call it. Growing up, going to the first club I ever set foot in was Tunnel, and I should have known in high school that my life was going to be all downhill from there. All right, this is probably what I'm going to end up doing for the next 25, 30 years. But coming into college and going to Red Zone, Mars, and places like that, and I was overwhelmed by how someone had control of how the floor vibrated and everything like that, and didn't DJ for. I probably didn't even pick up a record until like '96 or something like that. I just respected the craft so much, and growing up in New York, looking at guys like the Chocolate Factory, like Onions, Joeski, guys like that. And seeing what they did, there was so much respect for it, and it's all vinyl. There aren't the things that you can do today. So practiced, at home for years, played for your friends at the house and everything like that. And then finally, got a shot at a legitimate place and was absolutely terrified. I remember walking around smoking cigarettes for like
What's the
30
name
minutes.
of this place?
It was the Voodoo Lounge on
39th Street.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember. I actually DJ'd at that place.
Exactly. It was
Small
cool.
little DJ
Yeah,
booth
you walk
upstairs.
side stairs. Yeah. It was
The
a
owner
cool.
was a little bit of a dick.
Yeah. It was a cool spot though. It was very out of place over there. You know what I mean? You could like walk into to one of the tunnels over there and everything. But went from there and just kept practicing, kept getting other opportunities and everything like that, and here we are 15, 20 years later.
So there was no DJ that like you were inspired by coming into the game?
Really the Chocolate Factory guys, like I'm saying, it was Onions, Joeski, Frank Ride, Samir. Those guys blew my mind because they weren't just playing house. They were playing funk and disco, and they were playing, and I didn't even know it at the time, their own edits of things, records, acetates that they put together. Young Richard, when he was playing at Tunnel, those guys really, and at Red Zone with Dave Browns, those guys just changed the way that, I looked at music anywhere, and didn't think you'd ever be able to do that.
So did you guys start out as house DJs, or you just played everything when you first started?
100% house for me.
Yeah, you too?
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Sean, just use this microphone because I think that mic's cutting
Sure.
in and out.
Good.
So but talk directly into it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
So you both started off just playing house music. Nice.
So talk to us a little bit about what you guys are doing today, because I mean, you obviously have your party and residency, right? That
Yeah.
you guys do once a month at
Yep.
CLO. So talk to us about how that came about. I mean, because CLO is a pretty relevant room in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing a party there once a month, and I think you guys do it on a Saturday night, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So talk to us about that. Talk to us about the room. I mean, it's a great space.
It's got
like,
a great sound
Yeah,
system.
sound
right?
system's dope in there. Sad. Everything's great about that room. I'd been going there forever to see Willie Graff. Willie Graff was like, that goes back to a guy who, a DJ's DJ, a guy I respect. I love that guy. So just knowing him, bullshitting with him a little bit, we got to know lighting guy Steve Tech. We got to know manager Mike Vieira. And they knew we were doing some parties in the city. We were doing parties like Stay. And we had been playing together, like playing in Sullivan Room, playing all these different places. And we were looking for like a legit spot to do a party. It was 3 years ago. We actually just had our 3-year anniversary 2 weeks ago. 3 years ago, they gave us a shot there. They gave us a shot in the summer. And we did like 800 people. It was like
The
crazy
first night
people.
was crazy. I remember it had rained for like a week before. It was the perfect setup. Usually when it rains leading into your gig, you're like, oh crap,
Yeah.
come on. And it rained and it was beautiful that night. And like we said, we did like 800 people and the vibe was just incredible. It was a lot of fun.
you guys
Man,
must have
it
been
looked really
so
good.
It's
pumped.
great.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was like I mean, the text the next day. I wish I had saved those. We were like 14-year-old girls the next day, like talking about it. And then
It's
they gave us
such a
another
great
shot.
feeling, right?
Yeah,
Such a great
and
feeling.
it just right from there. I mean, we probably did like maybe 8 to 10 parties a year, and then it just slowly like rolled into a monthly thing there now. It's a cool room, and they give us some freedom on some of the bookings and stuff. And you know, Sean and I have had the opportunity to like book guys that we admired and looked up to for God knows how many years.
That's great,
Really, like,
Yeah,
you know,
there's a couple people that we've shared the booth with that, you know, when you, after the night's over and you sit back and reflect, you're like, holy shit,
Can we
I can't
name
believe
drop right now? Let's name drop some of these guys. that
Yeah,
share
because
the
I mean,
booth, please.
obviously, I follow you guys on Facebook, and I see the things that you're doing. So talk to us about, you know, I see some of these names that you
Yeah.
guys are playing with, and it's
just
pretty
to rattle
awesome.
off that, you know, Dave Morales, Hector Romero, Tony Humphreys, Onions, Frank Roger, Willie Graff,
Danny Crivet,
Danny Crivet a couple times,
Honey Dijon.
Honey Dijon, Phil Maffa,
Phil
who was
Maffa was-
ridiculous. Every one of these, Mr. V,
Jojo Flores.
Jojo Flores. Yeah, there's been a ton of people, and the greatest thing about working with
Hex
them,
and Jason too.
oh yeah, Hex and Jason are
Yeah.
just awesome. But not only playing with them, but watching their
Yeah,
workflow
of
and everything like that, and not taking bits and pieces, but observing, see what works in your own repertoire is really, really fun.
You
It's
always,
really-
we talk
Yeah.
about it every week. Like you always got to be a student of the
Yeah.
game.
You're always
Yeah.
learning in this
Right.
Always
business.
learning.
And it's not even just watching how these guys DJ; it's just watching how they approach it. And you see these guys when they're not playing a record, they're surveying the crowd. They're thinking 10 steps ahead. You know how they want the night to go. And you know some of these guys when they take a party over, they just have it in their hands and do whatever the hell they
Yeah,
want with
yeah.
it.
I mean,
It's
I
pretty impressive.
was always a big fan of Hex Hector.
Yeah, Hex is awesome.
You know, coming up like when I was a young DJ,
Yeah.
and I used to like open up, and I didn't know anything about
Right.
music back then, so I could only imagine what he was thinking. Like this 17-year-old kid, he's,
Programming,
you
right?
know, he's like this kid's a pain in the ass,
Yeah.
whatever. But like I was in awe because like he just, you know, is able to just control
Yeah.
a room, like
Yeah,
no other,
no,
you know.
and when him and Jason get together, I mean, that's the other thing. You deal with some of these guys, and like, you know, at least for me, I used to go see Jason in, like Enigma, you know, and I'd be
I
like,
used to DJ in the hip hop room.
I probably saw you there too. So, you know, and I'm like, I had friends of him, and I'm like, wow, we're watching. I'm like, holy shit, like what this guy's doing in the booth. And then all of a sudden, like when you get to like actually hang out with him and Hex are the epitome of ball busters. I mean, we were supposed to play with Jason just this past Sunday in Coney Island, where they built that roller skating rink.
Yes, yes.
All the
But of course-
walls.
Yeah,
got
yeah,
rained out.
yeah. Well, if you book us for an outdoor party,
yeah,
I'm
Expect
surprised it didn't
monsoon,
snow.
yeah.
yeah, we're like guilty of that.
Like
But,
oh, we got a ceiling and
yeah, exactly.
I think one of the best things besides, one of the things that I've observed, a lot of these guys that are, you know, that are legends, that have been playing for years, that understand things, most of them are actually really good guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can identify on a very different level, and I've seen that with the majority of guys that, you know, I looked up to for so many years, and understanding their personality is coming through what they're doing and everything like that. That's been really fun for me. There's been a couple people that I was like, you know, like in fanboy mode when they're in the booth and everything like that, and just to get to know them on a personal level and see that has been a lot of fun.
And then you
With the
just
exception
like,
of him.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're good.
so talk to us about, you know, the style of music that you guys play, and how you go into like sort of preparing for your nights. You know, is it, you know, do you guys just go in open-minded? Do you have an idea of which way you guys are going to go? And since you guys are a team, you know, how do you sort of split the night up? Like, how does that go for you guys?
I think that one of the good things about us is that we can do a lot of different things. Yes, you know, we're rooted in house, but you know, we both love to play funk, disco, and things like that. We can, you know, like we're playing Black Flamingo on Thursday. It's a very different sound than, you know, what we're going to be playing in Coney Island on Sunday. It's different than what we play at Cielo. So we have the ability to do a couple different things, and I think Chili and I, you know, we merge at a certain point, and I like the diversity that we have. You know, we have strengths and not weaknesses, but yeah, we have
they're all
weaknesses. Yeah, I'm sorry. It came out. There's a lot of weaknesses.
It's that
You know,
magic water.
there's overlays there in our styles and in our selections and everything that I think makes things a bit more interesting at times.
I think one of the biggest things for, you know, working with Sean, and I think we both have the same mentality, is that we're not bigger than the party. You know, I'm there. People are going out to have a good time, to dance, relax, you know, and let loose a little bit. You know, yeah, there are times I want to be playing, like, you know, banging some shit out, doing something differently, but, you know, we never compromise our sound, but you're still playing for the people on the dance floor. You're not playing for the probably too many people that are in the booth. Those are the people I'm not concerned with. It's those people on the dance floor that you want to keep those asses shaking, keep them moving, and really, you know, especially our last party was different, right? Because it was our 3-year anniversary. Sean and I headlined the night, took a little more chances, took a little more control of the night. But otherwise, when we book someone, you know, someone like a Danny Crivet or Hector Romero, David Morales, you know, you're respecting the guys you're playing before. And our job on that night is to warm up the floor for them and put them in the right spot to take the party to the next level. We always respect that. I mean, we've done some parties where we booked some kids who just like go on at 10 o'clock. You know,
Yeah,
there
there was one time at the hair salon that we booked this young kid. We had this promoter working with us. She booked this young kid, nice enough kid, but he literally came in and was playing like 135 beats. It was
Tech house,
insane,
like,
and like had like 15 friends there. They were all cheering him on. Got done, he like dropped the mic and walked out, and they were like jumping on. It was the longest 25, 30 minutes I've ever been anywhere in my life.
And you're like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah.
I mean, you can understand it. You know, you can understand wanting that, but I don't know. Maybe because we're both our personalities. You can't do
It's
that.
like
You know what I mean?
have to get on and like reset the whole night.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
exactly what we did.
Yeah, you gotta get on.
I think we shut the doors and turned off the lights for 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, got a haircut.
Gotta have
And then
a
we
long,
started.
So do you guys prepare for tonight? Did you like prepare something since you're playing together?
I prepared a couple things because there's no crowd to respond to. You know what I mean? And it's not 10 o'clock and the doors are opening. And, you know what I mean? So had 2 or 3 things in mind, and then just see where your twisted brain takes you from there and everything.
That's great.
And what about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing.
Well, what we find is that when people come to the Function House to DJ, they sort of get like taken over by some sort of vibe in this room, and like
Well,
we've
you
had.
know what I think it is? It's that, you know, like playing for people and then playing for yourself and playing for like a live stream.
Right.
It's like a totally different thing.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
to do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so you get to play those records that, you know, you want to push the envelope
Right.
a little bit.
Yeah.
You get to do it tonight.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So that's what I think is special about
Yeah.
doing it here.
So that means you're not going to play any Taylor Dane tonight, right?
Exclusive. On the loop.
So let me ask you one last question before we get on the set. You know, you guys are both dads, right? So
Mhm.
do you find it a lot harder now that you're, you know, becoming that you're dads in the DJ world?
It's different. It's different, but it's cool. I mean, luckily my wife's cool. My kids, I got 2 boys, and all they want to do is scratch records all day.
Oh, good. So they want to be.
Yeah, so they're all into it. I mean, the hardest part is always the day after, and just
Yeah.
plowing through and being a dad, you know.
Or
but
the hour after you
the
get
hour
home.
after you get home. But you know, it's easy to get through a hangover when you're like, oh, I'm responsible for 2 human lives right now. They die on my watch.
If I'm responsible,
Party's over.
if I'm responsible for 2, that means I've lost 1. So
true,
there's an even bigger problem. But yeah, I think having a wife, a partner, anything that is supportive of the lifestyle. You know, I've been doing this a long time, and I've been with my wife for a lot of years, and she's been extremely supportive. If you're doing things for the right reason, and you know all your motives behind it, and you're chasing after something that you love to do, she's 1,000% supportive. You know, we figure out what we're gonna do. We have 3 awesome little kids. You know, we figure out who's gonna help out. You know, the night of, and a little bit into the next day, and maybe even later into the next day, and everything like that. But having a good support system and someone that is cool with what you do and understands everything that goes into it really is the whole key to being able to do it with kids.
And one of the things, like with the guys we've played with, you don't realize it when you're going out to a club and you're just looking at these guys. A lot of these guys have families. You learn a lot. Like, I mean, we've both become super close with Hector Romero. Like, it's a guy who I look up to in a lot of different ways, and one of it is his family life. You know, he comes over to my house, has dinner with like his daughter and his wife. Our wives get along together, and it's just like you see like regular people. You know, you just work in different hours, so it's pretty cool to like experience that side of it and just kind of learn from them how to deal with it.
And it's also surreal, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's a guy, if I would have seen him in a Bees, I probably would have asked for his autograph, and now like
now you're making him Sunday sauce.
Yeah, I'm making fun of his cooking.
A lot of people, like, there's people that treat it like a business, and there's, I guess, like the younger kids that are still like, going out and partying.
That's exactly what I was
and
gonna
having
say.
a lot of fun.
That's exactly what I was going to say. My wife and I have come to the understanding over the years, as much as what we do is in a social environment, yes, it's fun, but once you get there, you're doing a job, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And, there's many facets to the job.
Poor paying job. A poor paying job, but a job nonetheless.
There's a lot of facets to it, there's, especially hosting the party and throwing the party. You have to make sure your guests are comfortable, their guests are comfortable. You need to be able to talk to this person and that person, and having a wife or a partner that's there, that if they're there, they understand that, or if they're not there, they understand that. It goes a long way, definitely.
What advice would you give like young aspiring DJs that are like coming up that want to get into the game? They're either buying Serato or
I have a shitload of kids. Pop them out. It makes you a better DJ.
Like what would you tell these people coming up?
I think for me it would just be like respect the craft, respect the people you're working with. And I think the biggest thing I've learned, and I've learned it more from throwing a party, and I think that's an important thing for an upcoming DJ, is throw your own events, curate your whole entire night. You see how much more goes into the night than just showing up, plugging into your tractor controller and playing, the top 10 on Beatport. Like, throw your own night, build a night from 10 at night till 4 in the morning, curate the whole thing, like do the sound, learn all the elements of it, learn how much it goes into a party other than just you playing your tracks. And I think you get a better feel for everything that.
And bitch about it the 30 days in between and love it.
And
for
then
that
do it
day.
again.
We put forward so much work into each event and everything like that. Besides booking people, the artwork, promotion, and nowadays it's true you have to be wearing several different hats, as a DJ or a promoter or whatever it is. But love what you do. That would be the only thing that I could say. You have to really love what you do. If you're doing it for the wrong reason, that's eventually going to come to the surface.
Easy.
If you love what you do, you're always going to find a way to support your habit. Support your love. You're going to find a way to do it.
Awesome. So your next event is at Black Flamingo this Thursday.
This Thursday with Hector Romero.
Awesome.
And then we're back at Cielo on July 2nd, where it'll be ourselves, Alan Morehouse, who was one of the original members of
one
the
of the
Project.
deadbeats.
And we want to numb the.
Canary shirt.
All right, so we're going to get to it. We're here with
Cool.
Forward Disco, and we're going to get them up on the tables right now.
All right, we'll see you in a few.